Hi, I'm Fran. I'm a designer that works on the Tattered Lace SVG Magazine. I'm here to explain a bit to you about why we make it the way that we do, how it's made, and why we've put certain things in certain areas to try and make it easier for you, the customer, to use. So to start off with, I generally tend to get the projects over from the physical magazine, so the one that you all know and love, that you've had going through your mailbox for years. I get all the projects that have been made from there, and I start to take measurements of the cards, of the mats and layers, looking at the dyes that have been used. And once I've got all my information from that, that's when I start making my SVG files to mimic the same things that are in the project. So we make sure that you've got your card base. If it's too big, we make it so it's two separate elements so you can stick them together with a tab. We make sure you've got all your mats and layers in there. If there's a dropout somewhere where it needs to be, then we put that in there as well. And we make sure that you've got all your die files ready to be cut for your charisma too. We have set out the files in a few different ways to try and give you a few options. So when you receive your digital magazine and you open your first project, you'll see that there is a white folder, a charisma folder, and a drawer folder. The white folder has everything that will just be cut out of plain white cardstock. This can be your card base, it could be one of your mats and layers, it could be one of your embellishments that goes on the top. But anything that's just going to be out of plain white cardstock will be the files in that folder. You've then got your charisma folder. Now that covers a whole spectrum of things. So you've got your artwork for your dies, like your main feature die that will be on the front of it, that's going to be in there. But you would have also done it so that you've got the cardstock colours for the mats and layers, or if you've got a card-based colour, or if it uses an embossing and you haven't got an embossing machine or the ability to emboss things yourself, we've done like a faux embossing charisma sheet so that you can at least get the same effect without having to use any of the actual machines. The reason that we've done this is more because if you don't have the red cardstock that you need for that particular mat layer, or the green cardstock that you need for your card base, it means you don't have to go out and buy anything. You can just print it off on your computer at home and you can still make exactly the same project that you see in the magazine. So it's just more to make it easier for you to have everything on hand for you to be able to make everything that you see in. You've then got all your loose files that are in your folder, which are generally labelled like 1 to whatever. They're what we call the detailed designs. So that's every file that's used in the project, be it the card base, the mats and layers, and your feature dies. But it'll have all the cut lines in on your feature dies. They're there for if you want to make the project yourself out of different backing papers. We've got all the backing papers for that particular issue of the magazine in the extras section, so you can download and print off as many of those as you like. And if you don't like the green background that it's used on one, you could cut it out of like a flowery floral background that you've got from the backing papers. So it just gives you the flexibility to then be able to create a project to your liking rather than just following step by step what you see in the projects. The projects are a good starting point, especially to give you a bit of inspiration and get an idea of how to do things. But then once you've started to learn the features of the scan and cut and you get comfortable with using it, these other files are giving you the ability to start making your own cards using all those same elements. We've also put in, so the extras section for each magazine, you will get a drawing files folder. Now this has got every sentiment and any stamped element, I suppose, used in the magazine. We've done those all as drawing files for you. So you can attach your pen attachment to your scan and cut and you can draw that sentiment on wherever you like on your card. We've done it to the size that the stamp is, which is why they might seem small, but the great thing about the scan and cut is that you can scale everything. So if it does seem quite small and you want it to be a lot bigger, just scale it up on your scan and cut and draw it on a different mat or layer. But we've put all those in one folder on there. You will have each one individually in each project folder that was used for that particular project, but then you've got a whole heap of them as in the extras section, so that if you just want to go through and pick a particular sentiment that means something to you, you can find one in there. We've also got the backing papers in there, like I explained earlier. We've got a sentiments cut out sheet, so if you don't want to use the drawing features of the scan and cut, we've done a big sheet of all the sentiments that are used. They've all got an offset path that cuts around them, so you'll have the sentiment written on a piece of paper and then it'll cut a shape out around it. that enables you to then stick that somewhere in your card rather than having to draw it out or get a stamp set or anything like that. So again, it's just to give you more options for if you don't want to use a particular tool on the Scan and Cut, or you want it to look a different way. We've tried to give you anything and everything we can to make life easier for you.